cover up with lipstick and powder. Is this thing working? Can you guys see me? No, it's going to take a second for my local version of the stream to happen. Oh, hey, there we go. Oh, my volume's up. Somebody just asked if the game that I DM'd for Matt and Liam is online anywhere, and unfortunately the answer is no, or maybe fortunately. I was like, you know what, let's just have this be a thing. Wow. All right, so how do I sound? Let's solve the audio problem. First, everybody, my microphone is right over here, and the sound is good. Sounds good. And then the ads start. Wait, are there ads? Are you guys seeing ads? Oh, it looks like there's an ad. Mic is a bit low. Audio sounds good. Volume is good. Okay, well, we're just going to have to assume that the audio is good enough. I'm not streaming a video game, so you don't have to worry about the difference in volume there. Over time, wow. There are a lot of people in Twitch stream in the chat. Hello, everybody. So probably there's face cam quality is a tad spotty. How does the video look? Because I increased the resolution so that you guys can see the map from the stream last night. For those of you joining us just today, Sunday at 11 o'clock, I streamed last night for the first time. It was something of an experiment, and what we did was I opened up Hexographer, which is the program you're looking at here, and we just generated a bunch of random maps until I found one that I thought looked basically okay. And that stream was a smaller resolution, but the problem was that it was a little bit choppy and people found it hard to read. So what I scaled it up a little bit. Video is fine, can read all the text clearly. Somebody in chat just before we started asked how I know Matt Mercer and Liam O'Brien, I think that's an interesting story. So we have 1 minute before 11 o'clock. So let me tell that story. I am the lead I'm the lead writer at Turtle Rock Studios. I'm also the junior writer and the mid writer. I get the writer coffee. And so it's my job for a game like Evolve, great game if you haven't played it, it's fantastic, to write everything. And then we get it recorded and we get it casted. And we were in the process of trying to find a voice director. And I have certain standards for that, so it wasn't easy. And I was actually doing something not entirely unlike this. I was doing an AMA on Reddit for Evolve, and I was at home doing the AMA, and all of a sudden my producer shows up in chat saying, "Hey Matt, Liam's here." And I'm like, now I'm 30 miles away from the office at this point, and I'm like, fantastic. Who's Liam? And he's like, I don't know. It's just this guy that showed up at the office today, and he said he's our voice director. And I was like, oh, and apparently he said he's got about an hour before he has to drive back up to LA. He just wanted to come and meet the team because we're recording tomorrow. I didn't know that either. So, of course, I immediately get in the car, drive half an hour south. I show up at Turtle Rock Studios, and I was completely frazzled. And I don't know if you've seen the video where my beard was like out to here and my hair was down to my shoulders because we had all agreed not to cut our hair until we shipped Evolve. So I walk into our recording booth and introduce myself to Liam, and I looked like, an Old Testament prophet. And Liam is kind of like, who is this guy? And so I then downloaded, 2 years of story development into Liam's brain. Turn up mic volume a little bit. All right, so a couple people said mic volume. Now, what's going to happen is, I apologize in advance. The tuning on my gain is super, super fine. So if I just make a tiny little adjustment, it shoots way up. Hang on, nobody do anything. There, I bet it just got really loud. Somebody says I look like a lion. I am a Leo. Greetings from Germany. Stream is not very smooth. We can bring the, please go back. See, I'm sorry, I can't, you're going to have to, all right, so listen, what we are learning is that we can't make everybody happy with the audio volume, right? And keep in mind that there is, I think, a little bit of a delay here between what I'm doing and what you guys are seeing. So you're just going to have to adjust your volume. The good news is that I'm not streaming a game, so there's no audio coming from the game. So you should just be able to tune my voice, just tune into my voice, and we should all be okay. So that's how I met Liam. It was pretty crazy. And then we proceeded to spend the next several months locked into a tiny room directing actors, which is fantastic. And Liam's a fantastic voice director. That's probably something you don't know. And also, he's a pretty good writer. He's done there have been a lot of jobs that he's had to do where he rolled in and the writing was not where it needed to be, and he was able to punch it up. And he actually, Matt Mercer plays Abe, who's kind of our man with no name character in Evolve. And when we auditioned Liam and Matt, whom I knew neither of these people, it was Liam and Matt Mercer who I felt could both do this character. And so I just sent it off to the team and said, pick. So if things had been a little bit different, it would have been Liam in Evolve, and he would have been our director. If the video is fine, if you're going to do anything like play games, your bitrate isn't high enough. That I know. I have a friend of mine who's an IT professional. He's our IT guy, Turtle Rock, and he goes, your bitrate should be fine for this. And he said, if you streamed a game, then you'll need to up your bitrate. And I'm like, well, does it depend on the game? What if I stream FTL? Like, what if this whole thing falls apart and I say, screw it, let's just all play FTL together? He goes, no, FTL would be fine at your current bitrate. So yeah, I'm not planning on streaming any of those kind of video games. Map looks great. All right, so the Wanderer 41 asks, what is this software we're looking at? I'm going to have to rely on Twitch chat to answer some of these questions. Otherwise, as people tune in, we're going to be constantly going over the same things. This is Hexographer. Let's get started. It is 11:03. Let's begin the actual process. So what I have Twitch chat open here, so hopefully I can... I love FTL. It's so much fun. I have so many hours in that stupid game. So here is our Word document. This is where we're going to be putting any notes that can't fit onto the map. Any stuff we come up with, like any cultural stuff. But otherwise, we're going to try and do stuff on the map. You'll notice there are no rivers and there are no roads. And we'll try to put some rivers in here and some roads. But that can get a little bit complex. So my goal is that the final product of this map is not going to happen in this Twitch chat. The Twitch chat is going to be us just taking a bunch of notes on the page. And it's going to look ugly. But then later on, I'll bring the map into Photoshop. And I'll clean it up and make it look nice and make it pretty. And then I'll release it into the wild. And people might end up using this stupid thing. Hey, type. Okay, fine. Okay, Jerry, hang on. Everybody, shut up for a second. My capacity to 71. There. So my friend Jerry. You know what I like? I like the name Collabris. I don't have a problem with that. Don't listen to me when I say shut up, everybody. Don't. That's me being funny. Don't listen to me. So hopefully my friend Jerry is now our moderator. Jerry is a good friend of mine and our IT guy. Should be working. This is not perhaps me texting my friends is perhaps not the best content for Twitch. Zave Gaming, I like the overlay, but I can only work one problem. I have a very simple brain. I know it doesn't seem that way, but I can really only work one problem at a time. And so trying to figure out how to get the overlay to work. I know you uploaded a video. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to check it out. And at some point in a future stream, we will be using that stuff. Could we do slow mode so people can't spam? Yeah, I know what slow mode works. But I don't know how to turn it on. I bet you guys do. I can't let Twitch chat. This is the problem. 700 viewers. Good Lord. Let's see. Can I just type / slow mode? Slow mode. No. I know that there is a way to do it. It's in the gear, of course. It's here, of course. Slow mode. Boop. Okay, so I apologize to everybody who wants to... There we go. Ignore me! Somebody just said, ignore us. Great Ventures Brothers reference. All right, let's get started. All right, enough of this gay banter. So here we have a map that I've created. We cleaned it up a little bit. I made it look a little bit more like a world. And as you can see, this local... so just to get everybody on the same page, one hex on this map is 24 miles across. And the reason it's 24 miles across is that a normal person walking speed is about 3 miles an hour. And if you walk for 8 hours a day, then you get 24 miles. So we can assume that if there's a road, right, if it's wilderness, it's going to be like, half that speed. But if there's a road, you can cross one hex in one day. And that makes our lives easier. You can kind of, if people ask, well, what's the distance from here to here? You don't need to know if it's 24 miles or what that is in metrics. You can just say each hex is one walking day away from the nearby hexes. It's now set at 2 minutes. I need to lower it. Yeah, 60 seconds. So slash slow 60. The room is now in slow mode. You may send messages every 60 seconds. So there, I apologize if it takes people a while to... wow, packed chat. So it is a Monty Python quote. I say that all the time. Enough of this gay banter in real life, and I think people don't get the reference and mistake my meaning, but that's on them, not me. So here you can see we've got some icons we can drop down. I don't really like these icons, so these are all just temp stuff. I actually prefer Campaign Cartographer has some great hex map icons that are in this basic style, but I think look a lot better. So let's start dropping some text in here. Let's actually get something done. So the first thing I want to know is, what is this mountain range called? And I don't know the answer to that. But as you can see, this whole map is bisected by this mountain range. And I like that. I think that's neat. It could provide some drama. There's the northern half of the map and the southern half of the map, right? And we have this pass. This naturally occurred in the in Hexographer. It put that in there. I cleaned it up a little bit. I like, wow. The dragon spine, the spine, the glimmer peak is pretty good. All these are pretty good. Cragworm, Dusty, the Great Divide, Scratchback, Dragon Scale. People like dragons. I kind of want to avoid. I thought like spine is good. What about like broken spine? Because there's a thing right in the middle. This is crazy. This is crazy. Titan Peaks, Amberstone, Cloud Peaks. Cloud Peaks isn't bad. What about Durham? Somebody said Cal Durham. I like Durham. I mean, I think there should be a. So people are going crazy. This may not work. We may discover that this process of having thousands of names streaming through Twitch is not. I want a name that is so I mean a lot of this stuff I like it when there's the name like the humans call it, right? But then there's the there's a term for this, the demonym. There's the name that the people who live there call it. I have not checked out Incarnate Map Editor. The last time I looked at that website, it wasn't all working. I like Wall. Wall's not bad. Durham isn't Durham. That's not Tolkien, is it? The Sundered Peaks, that's a little... It's one of these things where I'm not sure I can give good feedback, just because it's one of those things where I'll know it when I see it. This is the paid version of Hexographer, by the way. I do not mind. I like supporting the people who make this stuff. How do you do a poll? How do you do it? People are acting like I can just make a poll happen. Is that part of the technology here? Hang on a minute. So let's put some text in here. Durham. Hang on a minute. People are texting me. Strawpoll.de. Oh, interesting. Cragwall. People like Cragwall. I'm not. That sounds a little. I want something that sounds a little bit more. The trick to good names is it has to sound authentic, right? It has to sound like what the people would really call it. The Broken Spine is pretty good. So let's. I'm trying to think. Would the people who live out here in the plains call it the broken spine? Yeah, they probably would. So let's do the what people call it, right? The broken spine. And let's how do I start new text? The broken spine. Nope, that is not working. Oh, there we go. Look at that. I already had the rotate angle in here. So I can grab this. I can move it around. People like spine, but this select text. Ah, there we go. So the broken spine, we'll put that right there. Now, don't get too worked up about the location of the text. We're going to clean all this up. So the mountain range is called the broken spine. That's what the people call it in common. But let's come up with, somebody said Durham's lock. How about that? Durham's lock. Durham lock. There we go. So this is the people who, I guess, are you like me? Are we all assuming the dwarves live here? Durham's Rest. I like Durham's Rest, but I want to avoid the Durham's Rest. Well, Durham lock is going to mean Durham's Rest. So let's make a note. That's we have a thing here for it. So it's working. Our system is working. Durham lock. Let's give it a header, and that says, and Durham is some famous people, some famous dude. Durham's. What was? Hang on a second. I literally forgot what I was thinking about. Durham's grave. Yeah, let's see. Durham. So that sounds good. So Durham lock means Durham's grave. And let's look in Dwarvish. Let's put a question mark there. In Dwarvish, maybe Orcish. That sounds like it could be Orcish. So what we have is the actual mountain range is called the Broken Spine in English, but the people who live there call it Durham Lock. And the reason I wanted D-U-R-U-M instead of D-U-R-I-M is because D-U-R-I-M sounds to me like it's J.R.R. Tolkien. It sounds like a Tolkien dwarf name. And whereas Durhamlock, I think, sounds like something we just made up that sounds like a real word that people will use. Does that make sense? So the thing I like about this name, Durhamlock, and the notion that it built into that name, Durhamlock, is a person's name, Durham, and the lock, which in their language means grave, is what happened on this map that caused it to be someone's grave. Is it the thing that split this mountain range? Let's ask. Did the death of Durham cause the breaking of the mountain? Right, you see? Look, this is it. This is the juice, right? This is why we do this, is you guys came up with this name, and the map is random, and I'm like, now I feel like I know something about what the heck is going on in this world. Notice I said heck and not hell, because people didn't like the fact that I was swearing, motherfuckers. Did the death of Durham cause the breaking of the mountain? I don't know right now. We will figure this out probably. I will do some world building stuff offline. What's the gray area in the middle of the mountain range? Okay, so, all right, so maybe Durham was a titan. Maybe Durham was a giant. So let's talk about, because it's the major feature of this map, let's talk about who lives here. Like, who lives under these mountains? Do we all just assume it's dwarves? I think, Durham was a bird. Colville's cat ate him. My cat has brought back birds. That's the reason I'm trying to make a Black Kitty a indoor cat. Dwarves, orcs, Goliaths. I feel like giants. I like Durham was a champion who killed the Titan and died. That's not bad. I like the idea of Durham killing a Titan. Durham founded the Dwarven kingdom. All right, it's working. Founded the Dwarven kingdom when he killed the Titan and split the mountain. Why did killing the Titan split the mountain? I don't know. I'm not going to worry about that right now. But I don't think dwarves live here anymore. So I got to check my phone, because the phone is the way people get in touch with me when they want to bypass the Twitch chat. Let's see. I apologize, Dwargar. Yeah, I think maybe Dwargar live here now. We do have two different halves of this mountain range. I don't think the dwarves live here anymore. And I'll tell you why. Because that's obvious, right? So someone else lives here. I think there was a Dwarven Empire here once, because, I mean, it is D&D. But somebody else lives here now. Maybe it's the orcs. Maybe it's humans. Maybe humans moved in. Maybe there's a human So Wandering Bishop says underground fiefdoms all over the mountain range. I like that. The Titan does need a cool name. What was the name of the Titan that Durham killed? A lot of people like orcs for the Goliaths. I'm down with Goliaths. Can we get some sea dwarves? Raxus. Done. Done. And kill the Titan. I like that. Raxus. The reason I like Raxus is because even though it does sound like a kind of fantasy name, right? It wow. Even though it does sound like a fantasy name, it tells me. I feel like I just learned something interesting about what the Titans call themselves, right? That I learned a little about their language, the way they form names, right? Raxus is two syllables. It's got a rax. It's got a fricative in the middle, so that helps me out. You face Raxus. Eridar Lord is Raxus isn't from. You know what? I don't worry about. Let's not worry too much about stuff that we're pillaging from other things and accidentally coming across terms from World of Warcraft and Tolkien. I will be able to go back in offline and revise these names so that whatever we actually end up putting up for download at the actual map, it will have cleaned up names and stuff like that. This is just for now. We definitely need a giant skull fortress. So let's see. We're only 20 minutes into this. This is going to take a while at this rate. Hang on, stand by. This is go juice. It's water with crystal light and caffeine in it. So we know a little bit about this mountain range. I still feel like I don't know who lives here. I don't want it to be humans. I don't want it to be elves. But I don't want it to be some awful savage race. Somebody said I was the top recommended channel. That's crazy. Drow aren't bad. Drow, a lot of people. So let's do a poll. Let's do a poll. It's either going to be. Let's see. Hang on. Sorry, Jerry. My friend Jerry's internet is failing. So he said poll. Let me look. He said something. Dwargar. I mean, I like Dwargar. Don't get me wrong. But strawpoll.de. Straw. Can I just type that in? No, I think he means. I think that was a site he wanted to send me to. All right, so the UONT. You're thinking, Sunny Dan. You're thinking of the UONT. So I don't. Is it Dwargar? Because I think of Dwargar as like Here's the reason I'm not just enthusiastically saying, yeah, let's have it be Dwargar. Is I think of Dwargar as being, for those of you who don't know, I don't know how many people are watching the stream and are familiar with this, Dwargar are explicitly evil dwarves from the Underdark, right? And it's fine if this place is run by Dwargar, but I don't necessarily want the species that is inhabiting this mountain range to be explicitly evil. I want them to be, they can be the bad guys, right? But I want them to have their own point of view that is based on stuff like politics and tradition, rather than just the monster manual says they're evil. So that's why I want something that's a civilized race, because civilized races can, but I was saying drow. So so I was saying people like drow, Dragonborn, I feel like I just need to think, which Twitch chat does not afford a lot of opportunity. I saw someone say hobgoblins. All right, everybody relax for a second. Let me think. We can come back to the who lives here question. Somebody said that maybe the skull of the dead Titan was here. That's a pretty cool idea, but I think that might be a little bit too kind of crazy. So we've only labeled one. We've been doing this for 20 minutes, and we've only labeled one thing. Let's put aside for a second the issue of who lives here. It might be Drow. It might be Dwargar. I know people like evil races. It might be orcs. So what we have over here, down here in this area, which I don't know if you guys can see the map, we have these plains, and I'm kind of assuming that humans live here. So if we imagine that this is one human kingdom, What do we what Githyanki? Githyanki are from another plane. Yeah, I think we could have two races. Actually, let's just assume that there are two races. Okay, let's make everybody happy. I think the Drow. So let's do it. Let's start new text. How about Dwagar? Save, and we'll put the Dwagar here. Let's scale that down a little bit. Let's go 18. This might end up being, and over the course of, oops, sorry, select text, and then I can move this text. So let's say that here are the broken spine. The Dwagar live here, and then we'll start new text, and we'll say the Drow. This already seems a little. I might go back and I might change. This is. I have to act like the author here, so I may just boop. So the Dwagar live in the north, and the Drow live in the south. So they're both bad, right? So the people who don't live in the mountains fear the people that live in the mountains. But the Dwagar and the Drow are not necessarily allies, which means you could always pit them against each other. Underdark Corgi. I don't know why I didn't think of that. That's much better than Drow and Dwagar. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to pronounce Elysia's name, but the Twitch chat is crazy. I had no idea when I proposed this. Look, I apologize to everyone who's having a hard time following. This is something that we're learning. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. And I really had no idea that a stream would be this popular. I had something like 800 or 1,000 Twitch followers before I even streamed anything. So, this was something I thought would be a little bit smaller and a little bit more intimate. Gnomes, I like gnomes. But gnomes, if we have gnomes in the mountains, then I feel like gnomes are closer to like good guys. So, so here's what I want to do right now. I'm just going to decide this. I'm an author. I can just make decisions, right? So what I think, I'm putting in parentheses, dwarves. I'm going to put some dwarves here. Can I do this? Oh, I just edited. Oops, I just accidentally edited the wrong text. Stand by. Drow. Learning. This is super. Select text. Select you. Change you back to Drow. Oh, this is so annoying. Select text. I apologize. Everybody relax. Let's delete selected and let's start new text, and that's Drow, and we'll save it here. So you can tell this thing is Java because it really doesn't. It's really annoying me. Start new text. I have no idea why it's working the way it does. Save, and I should be able to just type that in there. Boom. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to start a new text and start this. And this is going to say dwarves. We want dwarves in our world, right? Right? They got to live somewhere. So let's put the dwarves. There we go. And that doesn't need to be, well, it doesn't hurt. Let's select our text and grab this. So now we know where the dwarves live. Select text. There we go. And now I should be able to just grab this and move this over here. So, down with the dwarves. So now we have a place where the dwarves lives. Here's what I'd like you guys to do. I would like you guys, Twitch chat, tell me something interesting about these dwarves that makes them different than normal everyday D&D dwarves. What is it that, what's the hook for these dwarves that makes them, are there going to be Goliaths in this world? Is this high fantasy or low fantasy? I would like to keep, I don't mind. I mean, the fact that we've got Dwagar and Drow occupying the ancient Dwarven kingdom tells you it's a little bit more high fantasy than I was initially imagining. Vampire dwarves, they're immortal, no. They're fishermen, no. They worship no gods. That's not bad. They're a theocracy. That's not bad. Nomadic dwarves. They follow the goddess of the lake nearby. They're savages. They're mercenaries. The Dwarven theocracy is pretty good. They worship their ancestors as deities. That's interesting. Doth is pretty good. dwarves are not born there. Once again, let me check my phone, make sure that. Okay, yeah. They build their armies with constructs. That is what I'm looking for. Okay, so what is? So let's go here. Let's go back to our thing. That is super cool. The Dwarven. What's the name of the Dwarven kingdom? This is going to be crazy. This world might end up being a lot more high fantasy than I thought. Doth. I don't mind Doth. Doth is pretty good. Deracor, I like Deracor. What do you guys think? Deracor or Doth? It would be D-O-T-H-E, I think. So it doesn't look like Doth. He doth protest too much. We're getting a lot of names. Dwarves at Deracor. Yeah, people like the Dwarven Kingdom. Doth. And Doth is the Dwarven Kingdom. The Dwarven Kingdom to the north. The Dwarven Kingdom to the north. I'm not sure yet if these guys have any relationship to the dwarves that were kicked out of the Broken Spine, but I think these guys, they are masters of construct magics, and though a small kingdom, defend their lands with the constructs they build. Okay, so I feel like that's pretty cool. We have this neat kingdom up here where dwarves live. Let's make the who lives here a little bit smaller, and move. Let's grab that and grab you, move you around, and then create some new text that is the Kingdom of Doth. And if you're looking at this video later and you're like, why did he change the name? It may be that I curate this and like a different name. Now can I go boop? Yep. And let's make that bigger. Let's make that 24. Oops, not 240 12. That would be crazy. There we go. Let's grab that. Can I just select text? Boop. So this is the Kingdom of Doth. I don't know. I sort of feel like we could do better with that. I feel like we've. You know what? The reason I feel like we could do better with that is because the Dwarf Kingdom of Doth, I think, is a little bit too many D's. Herr Mozart, too many D's. And I'd like something maybe beginning with like a K. Give me a name that begins with a K. That sounds appropriately Dwarvish. Are Tan Hexes desert? Yeah, I think they are. You're going to learn a little bit. This is, Gveth, the Dwarven Kingdom of. That's a little bit hard to pronounce. Koth, Kroll. I like that. I like Kroll. The Dwarven Kingdom of. Cragmore is a little bit, I think, too. I like Kroll. Holy crap! All right, well. Corim. Corim is pretty cool. The Dwarven Kingdom of Corim. Yeah, let's do that. I like Corim. So whoever came up with Corim, I think that's for at least the next 30 seconds. You win the prize. Yeah. So the Dwarven Kingdom of Corim. That's a cool name, and I have more and more affection for it the longer we do this. Corim. So we know a little bit about the dwarves up here in the north. We know that they, even though it's a small kingdom, relatively speaking, that they are masters. So if you're somebody who wants to know, like I often have players that are like wizards, especially my wizard players often want to learn how to build golems, right? Because they know that golems are magical, and they think, man, if I could find a manual of golem control, it'd be great. But now we know in this world, if you are somebody who wants to build, and maybe these dwarves, their constructs are both large and powerful and small and delicate, right? So these guys are masters of the whole thing. They can make tiny little constructs. They can make big war engines. But They don't, but they don't make a lot of them. That can't be. These guys don't dominate the land. Um, this is actually, I don't know about you guys, but this is actually pretty cool. It's probably going to take a long time to get this all worked out. But the Dwargar and the Drow are both here. Now, this was an ancient kingdom, right? The Broken Spine was an ancient kingdom. An ancient Dwarven kingdom, and it's now been taken over. So we can imagine that there are Dwarven mines down there, and the Dwargar. And so I'm keen to know. Let's have there be two human communities, right? One in the north and one in the south. What is the name of the human community in the north? They use human souls to make the golems. It is possible to go too far. Yeah, I think Warforged. I think Warforged could come from. I think there could be, if you want to play a Warforged, he is a somebody who is Thuvain. Thuvain doesn't sound human enough to me. Avalon obviously is Folder's Rest. That's not. It sounds more like a town. Um, Vrantis, Pelham. I like Pelham. Pelham sounds like a huge. It sounds like a human name. Fargrove sounds small. The North Sanction. That sounds cool. I like the Northern Sanction because I don't know what sanction means, and that, but I'm interested. I want to know, right? Uh, Toldrin sounds good. Toldrin and the Northern Sanction are both good. Uh, let's try the Northern. I like the Northern Sanction. I know that that may sound crazy. Custom text, the Northern Sanction. Why is it called the Sanction? I don't think that has anything to do with. Can I just? Why is it? See, this is crazy to me. Oh no, it worked. It worked. It worked. It worked. Select text. Let's grab this. The reason I like the Northern Sanction is that it implies that sanction is some kind of division of a government of land, like county. It doesn't have the same meaning that we have now. Let's fix this. Rotate 0. Boop. There we go. The Northern Sanction, and let's grab that and move this up here. All right. So this is the Northern Sanction. And we can imagine that that used to be the Northern Sanction and the Southern Sanction, but I think these two human communities have now split. Maybe it is a militarized nation and it protects itself. So, chaotic good thieves somewhere. It's a sanction because the old empire gave those people the land in a treaty. I like that. Header to the Northern Sanction. Granted to the men of the North by the dwarves. By the dwarves back when the dwarves ran this place. It is the last remaining civilized area of men. So, that's cool. That is. So we can imagine that once upon a time. So, I know we're focusing a lot on dwarves, but we've got this huge mountain range in the middle of our map, right? So we got to do something. So what was the name? We know that Corum is the name of the Dwarven kingdom. You know what? Let's use. Let's see. What was the name of the Dwarven kingdom, the ancient Dwarven kingdom? Let's have a long, elaborate name with a few syllables in it. That was the ancient Dwarven kingdom that was here in the middle, so that we can talk about the good old days, right? When the Dwarven kingdom used to be. People want to know where the Goliaths live, so we'll find a place for the Goliaths. Vandalheim sounds like a real place that people. Sorengard, Galarian. These are some good names. You know what? I'm gonna. I can just. There we go. I can pause the Twitch chat and I can read stuff. The Empire of Durham, Volendrun. That's pretty. That seems close. Valstrath, Thalgorath. Thalgorath, the problem with Thalgorath is it has an apostrophe in it, and that apostrophes are kind of indicative of a certain kind of fantasy that I think I want to stay away from. There are some pretty good names in here. Kahandagar. I like Kahandagar. I like Kahandagar. Let's see. Kahandagar? Kalzan Barthun. That's pretty elaborate. Kalazan. I'm gonna the Empire. I'm gonna Kalazan Bar. Kalazan Bar. Kalazan Bar. The ancient Dwarven kingdom that once ran this whole place. I can use natural language like this in this document, right? Kalazanbar, the ancient dwarf. That sounds. It has kind of a. The reason I like that name is because it's elaborate and romantic and hints of an ancient, better time. Does that make sense? The land, the people of Kalazanbar, back when there was justice, and this is kind of we're retreading some of the ground of my actual campaign setting, but this I think is different enough. The ancient Dwarven kingdom. I think, okay, so let's talk about this for a second, right? In my own campaign setting, we have good King Omund, who once ruled the land, and he was overthrown by Ajax the Invincible. And there's this idea that back when good King Omund was in charge, everything was nice, and there was civilization. Now there's wilderness. Okay, and so when I see this stuff that I'm writing here, and I say the ancient Dwarven kingdom that once ran this place, it's now fallen. The Dwagar and the Drow have taken over. The Drow have taken over. That to me has that same feel of an ancient, better time. But that notion that the best era is in the past is built into Dungeons and Dragons, right? Because it is, in fact, there was a version of the DM's guide that explicitly called this out and said, listen, I think it might have been 3rd edition, that said, listen, what must be true about your world when you're doing world building in order for D&D to work? And one of the things, if you have dungeons that you explore, if you have dungeons, you have ancient underground ruins, right? And ancient ruined temples sitting around that have tons of magic in them, and people are going into these things to get the magic out. That means they can't just go down to the store to buy that stuff, right? They can't just go down to the street or go to the local city to get a belt of giant strength. They have to delve for it. And that means that once upon a time, there was a greater civilization. Once upon a time, there were people that made marvels, right? And it's now up to us to dig around in their dungeons and stuff to try to find those things. So the notion that there's an ancient kingdom, right? Kalazanbar, the ancient kingdom of the dwarves, back when this place was back when there was, amazing things happening, there was justice and people could live safely. That is not just, it's not just a coincidence that we have something like that in my campaign and in this new campaign setting. It is built into the fundamental bones of Dungeons and Dragons. The ancient Dwarven kingdom that once run this place, now overthrown. So we know how, founded by Durham. Isn't Durin? Who is the dwarf? We gotta change that name. Who it's Durin's Bane. Durin. See, this is the name I don't want. Durin. Right? That's Durin, the founder of the dwarves. Durham is too close. So we're gonna have to fix that. You know what? I'm gonna do it right now. Hang on a second. I'm gonna scroll down to the Twitch chat. A civil war between the dwarves. I like that. A civil war. I'm going to make a note here. A civil war between the dwarves of Kalazanbar. Oh, I like this. This is cool. This is fun. A civil war between the dwarves of Kalazanbar and Corum. Corum, the smaller kingdom to the north, developed the construct technology they needed to beat the larger, more established kingdom. So there are probably people around these days who resent the dwarves of Corum, right? Because they're the ones that caused the downfall of Kalazanbar. But and now there are dwarves in Dwagar. But the dwarves of Corum are like, what are you talking about? There were 10 times as many dwarves of Kalazanbar as there were dwarves of Corum, right? So we had to do something. We had to do something to survive, right? We were outnumbered, right? So this is world building. I hope you guys are enjoying this because I actually think this is fantastic. Kalazanbar, the ancient Dwarven kingdom that once ran this home place, founded by, I'm going to change it from Durham to Durok. 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 I think I've seen that name before, but it doesn't sound like Durham, right? Durok's grave. Durok's grave. The death of Durok. We may change that later. I should just do a find and replace. I know, shut up. The death of Durok. The broken spine. So I have to change that to not Durok lock. That doesn't make any sense. Durok. Duroklor. Durokhol. Durok, we'll fix that. The broken spine, Durokhol. And all being grave. No, well, maybe. We'll figure something out. Durok sounds like a Klingon from DS9. Look, there's nothing new under the sun. Anywhere we go, we're going to be mining something that we didn't mean to. Isn't Durok Farquaad's kingdom from Shrek? Look, we can't get too worried about... I'm going to have to be the arbiter of how does this sound too much like this or does this sound too much like that? Because ultimately, with hundreds of people in chat, we are all going to be able to think of something that this name reminds us of. And I'll do some research offline once we're done with this and come up with like, I'll just go and look and see, has this been used a lot? And I can come up with ways to change some of these names. Hopefully when you see the final thing, you'll see where all of these names came from. So if I change the actual name of the mountain range or something like that, when we finally release this, you who are watching the stream will go, oh, I can see how he got from here to there. Durak means idiot in Russian. So this is pretty cool. So we have Corum, the dwarves. We know a lot about that. We know about the Northern Sanction. We know that these guys are the Northern Sanction are the last. So let's drop a capital city in here. No, let's hang on. So we know about the dwarves. We know a little bit about the humans to the north. Let's find out about the humans to the south. Tell me something about the humans to the south that makes them different than the civilized humans to the north. And I don't just want barbarians, right? No, I absolutely think that the dwarves, in the battle between the dwarves of Broken Spine and the dwarves of Corum, there may have been some other forces at work. Durak Naz? Yeah, I like Durak Naz. The Broken Spine of Durak Naz. And Durak Naz means grave. And we know it's Orcish. Durak's grave, and we know it's Dwarvish, rather. Tainted by demonic forces. I'm down with that. Nomadic werebears. That's the best kind of werebears. I think we can all agree. They worship lizard gods. They're not swamp. We got swamps. I don't want to change the terrain too much. Seafaring civilization. Yeah, that makes sense. That these guys are. They'll have a port here. Seafaring civilization. But there's a lot of land here. We got to fill it up with something besides boats. Elvis needs boats. Dwargar hybrids, they live in the swamp. What swamp are you guys seeing down here? Completely female-led nomadic tribes. I like nomadic tribes. I guess that's the same as barbarians. But when I think of barbarians, I think of like Conan dudes, and that's kind of trying to avoid. Nomadic, I like nomadic because there's this big plains here, and we can imagine that these guys are like, what do you guys think of the idea that they're horse lords? I'm thinking of the plains of Ra. Bantur. I like Bantur just because... Stop. There we go. I like Bantur just because it has a kind of... it almost sounds... I think Worm's Blood that we just had a moment of synergy here because Bantur actually kind of sounds like a Mongol name, and I'm thinking that these guys are like horse lords, that these are these huge plains. In fact, I think I could change the terrain here and make them... What's that? That's grasslands? Grazing lands. Yeah, let's change this to... let's add some grazing lands in here, right? So we're going to change this to... we're going to keep some of the green stuff in here, right? But now we've added some grazing lands, and this place can be the plains of Bantur. Maybe that sounds too fantastical, maybe it doesn't sound grounded enough. Like we have the Northern Sanction, the Plains of... So let's custom text, and let's start new text. The Plains of Bantour. And we'll put that here. There we go. Just select this text. The reason I like Plains of Bantour is because it sounds like a... these Mongol raider guys can be constantly attacking their neighbors, and it can be this savage area. We get civilized up north, and which is kind of an inversion, right? Which I like. Normally it's the barbarians who are up north, and it's the civilized people who are down south. But here we have the Northern Sanction, which is up north, and we can imagine that there are baronies up in the Northern Sanction, right? We can imagine that there are different territories up there, and they have maybe dukes and counts. But down here in the Plains of Bantour, it's like it's like the Rohirrim. It's like the Plains of Ra from the Thomas Covenant books. You know what? Let's change that color so that we can read it. Black. Will that just work? Yep, the Plains of Bantour. What is? Excuse me. I am scrolling down. What exactly are the gray tiles? The gray tiles. You mean the swamps? We'll get there. So like a more violent version of the Algars. Yeah, I mean, I think... right. Enough of this gay Bantour. Props to Troll QP. So, yes, the Thomas Covenant books had a huge impact on me. I think that they are now more... people like them more, the Bantour steppes. I think they are steppes. These are steppe nomads. Actually, let's change that text to not the plain. I may again the Bantour steppe. Do you guys feel as though this is collaborative? Do you guys feel as though it's not just me authoring this stuff, it's me turning to Twitch chat and saying, what do you guys think? There is a step tile, I know, but I don't necessarily agree with the visuals here. I can put an outline around text to make it more readable. Okay, cool. So I like the Bantour steppe. I want to know about these guys. The Northern Sanction and the Bantour steppe. Horse lords of the south who raid their neighbors and pose. Horse lords of the south, fierce warriors who raid their neighbors and make life difficult for people trying to cross this region. Somebody else just said that this person's... The game guy said that the Pocino had a good idea, so now I have to scroll up and see. The mountain could be used as a meeting place for the horse lords. Oh, yeah, like they've got some kind of like... you know what we're going to do right now? So everybody stand by. I just had an idea. Matthew Michalak, I hope I'm pronouncing that name, a.k.a. Troglaf. That dude wants a volcano. And if all you want is a volcano, I can oblige you. So now there's a volcano here. And these guys look to the men of the Bantour steppe. They are kind of the guardians of the volcano. Like people, I think that there's something special. I think there's some ancient forge in this volcano that people would like to get to. But the volcano is kind of the god of the people of the Bantour steppe. And they're like, no, you don't get to go assault our god and pillage him for your goods. And there's probably some ancient thing there that the people of the Bantour steppe aren't aware of, but now it's theirs. Right? So, yeah, I think they kind of worship the volcano, basically. I think they have a name. So what is the name of this volcano? Tell me something about this volcano. Ragnaros lives in the volcano. You know, we're adults here, right? We're all adults. I think maybe in order to keep my brain, the Sons of Fire. The Sons of Fire. Oh, I like that. I know that sounds cheesy, but I think it could be done well. They worship the god of the volcano. I think, what's that name? What do you call it when they're animists? Animists who see gods in everything. The greatest of the gods, is the volcano. Hang on one second. I have to pause the Twitch chat. The basalt throne. I like that. The basalt throne. Oh, hang on a minute. Called the basalt throne by the Northern Sanction. Its forge is so powerful. Magic artifacts can be created there. So the people to the north call that volcano the basalt throne, right? But the people to the south don't. They're like, what are you talking about? This is our god. So pantheists. Are they pantheists? I don't know if they're pantheists or animists. So I'm just making a note to myself to look this up. I don't think they're pantheists. Pantheists just means we believe in a lot of gods, whereas animists means they think that there is gods literally everywhere in everything. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Where's a good name? Pyrandor. Pyrandor is not bad. Pyrandor is not bad. Emberhold, no. I think that's too World of Warcraft. The Molten Pinnacle. A White Fang. A Throne of Ash. Barrock's Mouth, no. You know what? The Tour. Maybe they call it Tour. Maybe Ban Tour means the servants of Tour, and the name of the volcano is Tour. Does that make sense? That way it doesn't have some kind of crazy, overly high fantasy volcano name. What do you guys think of that? Don't give the volcano a name, give it a title. They don't want to give it a simple name. That makes sense to me. Don't give the volcano a name, give it a title. But they would give. I think they would give their god. I think they don't. When the volcano isn't a geological object to them. It is a representation of their god. So I think they could give it a name. Tour, people like Tour. Tour, father of fire. Yeah, I like that. There's a volcano. Tour. Tour is the father of fire. Yeah. Man, this is the Volcana. This is cool. So they call that place Tour, the Ban Tour Step. Ban Tour means the children, not sons. That's sexist. The children of Tour. And I'm just going to take this and stick it here. Man, this is cool. I want to play in the setting, I think. The volcano. The volcano, the basalt throne by the Northern Sanction. It's forge, wrong. This is something I do not know. I never type the possessive it's correctly. I'm always... Hello, Soma870. You're not late. We're only an hour in, and I don't even think we're half done. My cam is cutting off the lower half. The text window. My camera is cutting... Oh, I see. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You know what I can do? Everybody stand by. Video capture device. Whap. There we go. Now, hopefully my camera is cutting off less of the text. What do I mean by high fantasy? I mean just crazy stuff's going on, right? I think of the Forgotten Realms as high fantasy. I think of Ptolus as high fantasy. Maybe Ban Tour believe Tour's ash is holy and paint themselves. Worm's Blood. I can't. Worm's Blood, you're giving me too many good ideas, right? And I don't want this to end up being Worm's Blood's thing. Hi, Matt. No green screen. No, but I'm gonna have to write that down. Maybe the Ban Tour believe. Yeah, I think they do. I think they do believe that. Stop. Twitch chat. Stop. The Ban Tour. Oops. Let's paste. Just plain text. The Ban Tour believe Tour's ash is holy and paint themselves with it before combat. they call their elite cavalry the Ash Wind, right? Right. When you see these horse riders covered in ash, you know shit is going down. So when you meet these horse lords and they're not covered in ash, it's no big deal. And if you know this culture, if you're traveling through the mountains and trying to get from one point to the other, you know what we need? You know what we need? So we have the Bantor steppe, right? And then we've got this forest down here. I want to know something interesting about this forest that makes it so people from the northern sanction want to get down here. Maybe it's just that no green screen. No, I didn't go with the green screen just because I'm not really having a problem. Like, I found this to be fine. So I bought a green screen and I made it work, but I think probably you're going to see something crazy happen right here. I can't do it left-handed. Don't smoke, kids. What are the fundamental forces of this world? I don't know yet. So I need to know something. I only started smoking a pipe when I was like 40. So I only do this like once a month. So nobody freak out. Somebody's asking an off-topic question, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to wait and answer because otherwise we'll never get done with this. So let's see. Let me get down to the bottom of the chat. People are saying that the forest is the Feywild. The Elves of the Vale. I like the Vale. I like that. Somebody said the Elves of the Vale. God, I hope that wasn't Worm Dude. Otherwise, it could just be me and him. Elves of the Vale. No, Negark said the Elves of the Vale. So that means that this is an elven kingdom. So I think let's go with that. We need some elves, and the Vale is cool. So let's put some custom text in here, and we'll call this. Let's go start new text. This is not the most intuitive interface I've ever encountered. The Vale, right? And I think the Vale. I don't think that is the most intuitive. Select text. I would like to select this text. Hello. There we go. Let's move this thing over here. This is the Vale. So now we have the Elves of the Vale. These are wood elves, right? The volcano. Let's go to it. These are wood elves. Right. The Elves of the Vale live here. They call the forest the Vale, and humans interpret that as Vale. Elves don't know what this means. Elves don't know what this means. Ancient temple protected by elves. You don't like the elves? You don't like the Vale? Why doesn't Fapster TV, great name, why doesn't Fapster TV like the Vale? Is that obviously from something? What does Vale mean? I don't know. It's a good question. Somebody just said the Vale is too close. It's too close to what? Why don't people like the Vale? Sounds like Game of Thrones. I have to take your word for it. Sounds like Dragon Age. Is it from Dragon Age? Oh, the veil is from Game of Thrones. Oh, but that's, is it really? Oh, but this isn't the veil. Well, I see what you're saying. Yeah, this is not veil as in veil is a real word in the real world that means a glade or a glen or clearing. But I'm thinking it means veil as in something that covers your face. So it may be that people are. Yeah, Vale literally means valley. It's not from anything. Yeah, Game of Thrones doesn't get to own the idea of a veil, but I think it does mean veil is in something that covers something that covers your face. So that means I think there is something hidden in the veil, and I don't know what that is, but I think I like the idea that it's fog. That somebody said in the Twitch in the chat that there's fog comes in here all the time from the sea. I think it's called. Humans are happy calling it the veil because the forest is constantly flooded. I don't know if there's a word for that. Fog from the nearby sea. Nearby sea. There we go. I think that's fantastic. So, tell me something cool about these wood elves that live down here in the Vale, that makes them the master sword is hidden in the Vale. I'm not opposed to that, but fog with mystical properties. Okay, well, what is that mystical property? See, this is why. So, by the way, me sitting here staring at Twitch chat, waiting to be inspired by something, is probably why we would like to have an edited version of this video. We're already at an hour in, so I'm sure I'll put up the unedited version on YouTube because channel needs content. But the Emerald Veil, because they hide. How much? I have a hard time getting the chat to stick. I can scroll up. Semi-feral wild-shaping druids. Unfortunately, Panic Koken ship. If you put an idea out there and it just scrolls past, spamming it over and over again, I don't think is going to work. Just because we can't. I don't think we can fight over this stuff. I'm not going to see a lot of these ideas. That doesn't mean they're bad ideas. That just means that there's a lot of people in Twitch chat. Semi-feral wild-shaping druids. I don't think. See, that's the thing. Is it like. Druids wild shaping, that any you can be a druid from any of these forests or any of these places. What is it about this forest that makes it interesting? It makes you forget. That's interesting. That makes you forget. So there's a forest down here. Fog elves, wild magic. Oh, that all sounds good. So, the elves, the elves are unable to leave the Vale for long periods of time, due to a magic contained within the fog, making them dependent on the mist. That's an interesting idea. Like if the fog, now we'd have to have a reason for that to be. Just I have been in fog and it didn't do that. So why does the fog? The fog gives them what if the fog gave them immortality? Right, and if they leave, once they leave, they become mortal. They don't age and die, but they become mortal, and they have to return to the fog. And then we have to have a reason why the fog does that. There has to be some source of power doing that. Does that make sense? Is that a cool idea? What do you guys think of the idea that the fog grants these elves immortality? There seems to be a consensus that the fog is special and that it does something cool. People are saying they like it. They're saying it's radical. So, all right. The Elves of Vale. Vale, V-A-E. V-A-E-L. They call the forest Vale. Vale is Elvish for the immortal shroud. That the fog literally makes them immortal. The elves of Vale are immortal as long as they stay in the forest's mist. Once they leave, they become mortal. Dying Vale elf. I like this. Vale elf who returns to the forest is restored to youth. So now I need to know, here's what I want to know. Why does this only work on the elves? What is it about this fog and about this the fog? I don't know if the fog needs to be, they become moral. Is that what I wrote? They become moral. Yeah, they become moral. That's funny. So there must be something in this forest, right? That is doing this. I am going to make an executive decision because I have that power. I feel as though we've been sufficiently collaborative that I can occasionally just drop stuff down. I think there is some kind of tower here. Boom. There. I think that monolith, that tower, is a focus. It's a genius loci, as they call it. It is something that is the source of this fog, right? It's not. It's if the ocean weren't there, it has to be this unique combination. But was there something in this tower? Is it a tower? There's something here. Maybe it's a dead god of the elves or something, and it gives off this fog and it protects the elves. When other people come into it, the fog doesn't do anything to them. That is what it's. Whatever's in that monolith, whatever's in that temple, whatever's in that tower, is something that's granting the elves this power. An ancient gem given to the dwarves. That's not bad, but then could the dwarves just give gems like that to anybody? The very first elves who entered the forest made a pact with an otherworldly entity which granted them perfect immortality in the forest. OJE Pixel. Yes, that's the elves guard the forest, right? They protect it. There's a symbiotic relationship between the elves and the spirit of the wood, right? So then this is the temple of the spirit of the wood. But what is the spirit of that wood? With an otherworldly entity. What is that? What is that entity? The dead elf god. I gotta scroll all the way down. I like the idea that a spirit of an ancestor. I think it needs to be a little bit more a dryad. It needs to be something more powerful, right? It needs to be something ancient. Severin and Wonks. I've got such a D&D direction from that. So, I mean, hopefully, it'd be nice. It would be cool if people in Twitch chat suggesting stuff to me inspired other people in Twitch chat to do stuff in their own game. So it's not just about building this world. No, I don't want. I know people who are trying to get the Vale to relate to the volcano. I want the volcano and its history to relate to the people of the Bantour Steppe. I like the idea of using all the parts of the buffalo, right? And so but I don't. I mean, maybe that's the reason the people of the Bantour Steppe and these elves they're fighting kind of over control of the volcano. I don't know. A powerful mind flare. The ghost of a god. I mean, an ancient green dragon. An ancient green dragon. An ancient green dragon. An ancient green dragon. So underneath the forest is this. Yeah. So maybe it's not a. Maybe it's not a tower. Maybe it's a cave, right? And there's under the veil. Where's my text? Under the veil lies a sleeping dragon. It is the source of the fog. What is this name? What is the name of this dragon? I like the idea that the elves are the servants of the dragon and they don't know it. I like that. The elves of the Vale. And we can use the term the elves of Vale when we're talking about them endonymically, and we can use elves of the Vale when we're talking about them demonymically. Depending on the elves of the Vale, don't know they're protecting an ancient dragon. They worship the forest. They worship the forest. Green dragons are evil, Rafane GG. So that's why I kind of went from thinking of it as an ancient green dragon to an ancient dragon. Green dragon called Mirrodrin, Lazarus, Bob. It's gonna be no, it's not gonna be Bob. Elysian, Malferovax. I like Malferovax. Malferovax sounds evil. I don't want it to be evil. Faramax, Faramnax, Rufus is Xavier Sarsaparilla. In the cave lies Matthew Mercer. Elegon. I like Elegon, actually. Elegon doesn't sound too... I thought I could get Twitch chat to stop scrolling, but I'm having a hard time with that. Faramax, Elegon. Felamax Symberion sounds an awful lot like something from the Silmarillion. No, I'm not. I don't think it's a green dragon. Everybody, the green dragon thing is a... I mean, I don't necessarily think... Maybe, maybe it is an evil green dragon. Basharix. I like Basharix, Fated Soul. I like a lot of these names. Solconlith. I like a lot of these names. Basharix. Yeah, I'm going to go with Basharix. I mean, the Elves of the Vale don't know. Basharix. I want to know something about Basharix, the dragon under the veil. This is crazy how this is going from it's being elves. It's just a forest. To start with just a forest, and now we got some elves, and they live there. And what's interesting about the elves? There's a fog, and the fog comes in, and now they're immortal elves. They live forever. They leave the forest, and you could be an elf from the Vale, right? And you leave the forest, and now you're mortal. Now you have hit points. Now but then you come back. If you're wounded, like if your character dies, and the party brings you back, maybe Basharix will bring you back to life. What's Basharix doing under there? Why does Basharix sleep? Maybe Basharix was the mate of the Titan Raxus, and when Raxus dies, Basharix went into slumber. What do you guys think of that? That's using all the parts of the buffalo. See, somebody just said Basharix is as old as the Titans. Okay, so Basharix, the ancient dragon, mate to the Titan Raxus. When Raxus was slain, Basharix wept. And, oh my god, I just saw the wept and went into her long slumber. Her tears create the fog. The elves protect her. And I just began a sentence with a conjunction. That's legal. You can do that. Professional writer. The elves protect her and await her awakening. That's a lot of awakening. When she will revenge... Oh, wait, maybe... revenge herself upon the dwarves who slew her mate. So, I have no idea if this makes any sense. An artifact called the Tear of Basharks. I like that. The Tear of Basharks. Ancient artifact. What does it do? I don't know. I often make notes to myself like this. I'm not going to worry about what the Tear of Basharks does yet because we got a lot of work to do. So we have the Vale. We know that the elves of the Vale live here. We know that underneath the Vale is Basharks, the ancient green dragon. Or maybe it's not green. Actually, I think it might be green. It might be that the elves are kind of they're in the debt. They owe this ancient evil thing. I don't know if it's when you get to powerful things like that. I don't necessarily think. I think you can have. I'm not super worried about. I like it's green because the forest is green. I'm a simple person. I'm not a very complex man. So maybe it's not. Maybe it's a different. Maybe it's a chromatic dragon. Maybe it's one of the amethysts. Maybe it's one of the gem dragons. They used to have those in D&D. We haven't in a long time. So we're an hour and 20 minutes into this, and we've got. I feel like we already kind of know a lot. So we know a little bit about the Northern Sanction. We know about the Bantor Steppe. We know about the Vale. We know about the dwarves. We've got this huge gray area over here. We've got this forest over here. We've got another big fuck off forest over here. We got a lot of work to do. We might not be able to get this all done in one session. I want to know more about the Northern Sanction. I want to know more about the culture of humans that live there. I think the Northern Sanction is broken into 3 kingdoms. I am going to drop down 3 things here. Let's see. And put this one over here. Let's put this one over here. And put this one over here. Right? And now what I want to know is, green dragons are lawful evil, so they're not evil. What software is being used, TP Craig? You'll get an answer to this in chat. This is Hexographer. So somebody just named, Zeltor Damon just named one of the places Ardenia. I like that. You gave 3 names, and I don't want one person to monopolize things too much, but I think the Northern Kingdom is the Kingdom of Ardenia. Save that and plant that here. Boot, boot. There we go. That's a little bit too big for the size of this kingdom. Let's make it 18. There we go. Let's grab this. Move it around. I think I probably already had selected. I think this is the Kingdom of Ardenia. Does that make sense? I don't think Paxamo 84. I don't think this. I think this is a temperate. This is a what's not temperate. This is. I think we're when you get down to the south. I think you're close to the equator. I don't think there's any. I don't think the north is cold. Basically. Valcrest. I don't mind Valcrest. Valenhall, Kyreth, Thaldril. These are a little bit too fantasy namey for me, if that makes any sense. I like stuff that sounds plausible. Nilbog. Somebody suggested, Krazag suggested Nilbog. Nilbogs are an actual monster. I think they're from the Fiend Folio, and they're literally goblins backwards, and doing damage to them heals them. So if you want to fight them, you have to cast curative spells on them, which is among the dumbest things that's ever been in. Does Ardenia have good relations with the Corim dwarves? I think they probably do. So let's go to the Northern Sanction. Let's go up here and say the Northern Sanction is broken into 3 kingdoms. Broken now into 3 kingdoms. Is it Ardenia? Ardenia, yeah, Ardenia. Ardenia, allies of Corim. Is that what I'm saying? Corim. Cardus. I like clockwork. I like Cardus. So let's put Cardus. Start new text. The Northern Sanction broken into 3. Maybe they're duchies. Maybe they're not kingdoms. So let's put Cardus over here. Why does I have to click twice? This is so stupid. Select text. Ardenia Cardus. What is the name of the Western Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen? High Castle, no. I mean, High Castle is a good word, don't get me wrong. Haldrim. Ardenia, Cardus, and Haldrim. I like Haldrim. I can't necessarily explain why I like the things I like. Haldrim. Save. So you can see that I am curating some of this stuff and I'm authoring some of this stuff, and that's a unique combination. And we'll see whether or not it succeeds. Oh, and that is largely going to be based on what do people think of this stupid setting we're putting together. So I would like to select you, text. 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 I would like to select you. There we go. So we have 3 kingdoms, 3 duchies. I don't know what we're going to call them: Ardenia, Cardus, and Haldrim. And each was 7 baronies. Yeah, I have no problem with dividing these things up further, but we would need some borders. So I'm going to just drop some borders down right now, if you guys don't mind. So let's do some custom lines. Isn't there style? Let's do style lines. What's this? Freehand major border. No. Snap to vertex major border. Yeah. So here's. Oh, this is going to take forever. Oh my God. My god. Oh, do you see how crazy? Maybe I should just do freehand border. Oh, it's snap to vertex. Why are you letting me put things in the middle here? So, you know what? Let's delete selected line. There we go. If I do freehand border, what happens? Can I just draw a border? Wah! that was easy and looks awful. So I think we can let's select a line. Select line. I want to select you, you horrible, ugly thing I just dropped onto this poor map that didn't deserve it. How do I select you? You know, it'd be great as if Control Z worked. Oh, there we go. Control Z didn't work, but I finally selected delete selected line. So yeah, I want some borders. So let's drop some borders in here. And what I'll do is I'll put this border. What I'll do is I'll just use the snap to vertex thing to. Am I on the right thing here? Just gonna create this. All right, this really isn't working. This is so annoying. All I'm trying to do is show. All right, you know what? Forget it. We're not going to do that. We'll do it in Photoshop later. Select line. Delete selected line. Is that going to work? Yep. Let's select line. How about select dot? Delete dot. Delete selected dot. Select line. Let's get rid of you. Okay. So we just have to imagine that there are borders between Ardenia, Haldrim, and Cardus. And I'm going to want to know stuff about. So here's what these are keeps, and what I'm going to do is, you ready for this? This is going to create some. We're going to create some tension. We're going to make some stuff happen. We are going to put a fort, a tower, here. Boom. Right. What have I just done? I have taken the Northern Sanction, and they have projected their power into the Bantur steppe. And this tower, this fort, is the thing they're fighting over because they want to control the pass, right? Why do they want to control the pass? Because they need access to the shipping lanes. They need access to water. So let's make that possible for these poor people. Let's make sure that these human beings aren't trapped in there. Let's go boop, 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 boop. Actually, let's remove all of that. There we go. And we're going to put a town here. We don't have good. I'm not a huge fan of these symbols. I think there's actually, here we go. I'll put a town here. Right, so that black square represents a port town, and now we need stuff like roads, right? We need styled lines. Let's put a road in here. Can I just go? We know about those. We know about the fact that the pass is hostile, right? Getting through here is a pain in the butt. This is the problem. This is, where are we going to play when we play? We're probably going to be playing in the Northern Sanction, right? And they have allies in the dwarves, right? And the elves of the Vale, I think, are kind of neutral to the humans to the north. They don't like the humans of the Bantor Steppe. I think they're constantly warring, right? They're raiding. The Bantor Steppe are raiding, obviously, but we know about the three nations of the Northern Sanction. I don't know. We need to know something about those things. So we'll probably figure that out tonight. We need to know something about these forests over here. We need to know about the Bantor Steppe. We know about those. We know about the fact that the pass is hostile, right? Getting through here is a pain in the butt. This is the problem. This is, where are we going to play when we play? We're probably going to be playing in the Northern Sanction, right? And they have allies in the dwarves, right? And the elves of the Vale, I think, are kind of neutral to the humans to the north. They don't like the humans of the Bantor Steppe. I think they're constantly warring, right? They're raiding. The Bantor Steppe are raiders, so they're constantly trying to pillage the stuff the elves have. And meanwhile, the people of the Northern Sanction are just desperately trying to hold on to this port city, because without it, their trade will collapse. And they're constantly being raided by the men of the Bantor Steppe, and they're being attacked by Dwargar and Drow. What is the large island to the east? A meteor crater. I've given meteor crater. I think we can put a meteor crater in here later. But I think. You mean this place here? I put a Trogaf. I put Matthew. I put a volcano right here for you. Maybe this is a maybe there's a crater here. No, I don't want to go to bed. There has to be a ruined town in the Pass of Broken Spire. Somebody already said that. Cardus has the largest army. I think you're right. I think Cardus has the largest army, but they're the kind of farthest away. Cardus has the largest standing army, but who are they fighting with? But they use it for defense. They're under attack. They can't commit troops to the pass. You're starting to get a sense of how I think, right? We can't just say, oh, Cardus has the largest standing army, and therefore they're able to defend the pass. No, there has to be some tension. We need some tension. If they're the ones that have the largest army, then Ardania and Haldrim have to be constantly begging them and saying, we need troops to guard the pass. Otherwise, we're all going to be screwed. And Cardus is like, look, we have bigger problems. I don't know what those bigger problems are, but it has something to do with what's going on in the east. And I'm wondering if it might not be this desert here. We don't know anything about this awesome desert. So we're just taking notes. They can't commit troops to the pass. They're defending the people in the east, maybe from a little bit of Zorgberg here, from the desert, maybe? Why not Zorgberg? Whoop, 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 whoop. Snake people. I like, you know what? All right, so let me ask you a question. Here in this desert, there are probably humans in the desert because humans are adaptable and they live everywhere, but there also should be something interesting besides humans in the desert. And here's my question to you. Somebody said, snake people. And then somebody else, Dennis the Menace, got there before me. So the nice thing is, anything I think of, if I just wait long enough, you guys will think of it. And then I can say, oh, it was your idea. It wasn't my idea. No, so I think that somewhere out here in the desert, Dragonborns in the desert. The Dragon Men of the desert. God, that is a cool idea. Okay, so the civilized species out here in the desert are the Dragon Men, right? Why are they? Because I think of Dragon Men as half dragons, but I think that the guys they fight and the guys that as the more successful the Dragon Men are, they're driving their enemies into Cardus. We're gonna need to break this mountain up a little bit so there's a way for these guys to get in here, right? But Cardus is defending against the enemies of the civilized Dragon Men, and if only we can make an alliance between the Northern Sanction and the civilized the desert dragon. I love the idea of Dragon Men from the desert. I love the idea of Arabic or the Arabic Dragon Men. That is so fucking cool that I swore in the sentence I'm speaking right now. So before we get there, we're getting ahead of ourselves. There's so many good ideas in this Twitch chat. It's phenomenal. I'm really enjoying this. I wish I could go forever, but my voice, I can feel a little bit of in the voice. So Dragon Men in the desert, we need to know about those guys, but who are the enemy of the Dragon Men? Who are the Dragon Men driving west into Cardus? And I'm going to give you two choices, and we're just going to look into the Kingdom of Zeal. I like that, the Kingdom of Zeal. The Kingdom of Zeal. I don't mind that zeal is a real word in the real word in the real word. Did I just put that where it doesn't belong? Yeah, I did. I don't want to. Eep, op, orp, op. Let's just go to the end here. The Kingdom of Zeal. It doesn't bother me that zeal. I'm just gonna write this. I'm gonna pillage another culture because I think it's cool. I mean, I think the culture is cool. Arabic Dragonborn of the desert. I don't even think these guys are nomadic. I think they have a city. I think they have built a civilization in the desert. And just for now, you can probably guess what I'm about to do. Just for now, I don't actually think this is literal. I know the symbol for a pyramid is in here because I saw it. And now I can't find it. No, they don't have teepees. That's ridiculous. Oh, here we go. Pyramid. Boop. So do they build pyramids, or is that just I just want a desert themed icon? Arabic Dragonborn of the desert. Wild One Izzy, I do love you guys. I can only monitor Twitch chat. No, maybe it is Zeal, Zeel. I'm not worried about that. Anastavasvic. Oh, sorry. If you it says yeah. Kingdom of Zeal is from Chrono Trigger. Okay. Yeah, Chrono Trigger is pretty popular. How about the Kingdom of Zir? There. The Kingdom of Zir. I'm going to give them heading 1 because I like Arabic Dragonborn of the constantly civilized, not nomadic. Not nomadic. And they constantly warring against. So, who are they warring against? I'm going to give you two answers. Zir. You like Zir? Z-I-R? Okay. The Kingdom of Zir. I love that. I love Zir. Z-Y-R? Z-I-R? Z-I-R? Z-Y-R? Kingdom of Zir. I actually sort of like the Caliphate. You know what? I don't mind Caliphate so much. I just kind of want to... they're Arabic in culture. They're not literally Islamic. Islam is a thing from our real world. I think Islam is a specific thing from our world, as opposed to Arabic culture, which I think you could get in any. If that makes sense, right? I mean, Islam is a result of one dude, right? Whereas the Arabic culture is this huge melange of cultures that has been developed for thousands of years. So, Xeris, the capital is Xeris. Correct. Capital city, Xeris. The shining star of the sand. And I imagine Xeris is an awesome, like when you go there, like, holy crap, these Dragonborn have amazing culture and technology. So, but we don't know who they're constantly warring against, and I'm going to give you two options, and you have to pick one, right? Either they are constantly warring, and you can see that Zir is the desert, and then there are these hills. So, then there's these hills. So I don't think we need to break up the mountains. These guys just go over the mountains, right? That's how bad things have gotten. When the Dragonborn do well, the people... Oops, I just put a fucking pyramid in there. Suddenly pyramids. Accidental pyramids are the worst kind of pyramids. Okay, symbol icons. How do I scroll? Oh, why should that... Remove feature. Boop. Why must you vex me so? Dear Hexographer, why must thou vex me so? I just want to remove... There we go. God, I only had to click on it 4 or 5 times. So, are the creatures in these desert hills that are constantly warring against the dragon men of Zir, are they Yuan Ti snake men, or are they Thri-Kreen? You tell me. It's Hexographer. People want Goliaths. We got to stick Goliaths in here somewhere. Thri-Kreen. I've seen snake. Thri-Kreen. Snake. Thri-Kreen. Thri-Kreen. Okay, we need a poll. Wow, this was a bad idea. I'm seeing a lot of UIT on. So how do I do... Oh, everybody stop. How do I do a straw poll? Please make a straw poll. So I guess I have to go, I guess there's a straw poll. Jerry was telling me straw poll dot It says the website strawpoll.de. Strawpoll. Strawpoll.de. I don't know why it's .de. New poll. Yuan T. Snake Men? Oh, here, let me do this. Hang on a minute. What are Thry-Kreen? Oh, you wait. Someday we will do a video about Dark Sun, and you will have your mind blown. Dark Sun is one of the coolest things Dungeons and Dragons has ever produced. So let's take a look here. Here's strawpoll.de. Are we UNT Snake Men or are we Thry-Kreen? I sort of feel like it's .me. Why is .de working? I sort of feel like it's Lex Mandrake. Hey Lex, how's it going? Everybody go to Game Master's Journey and listen to Lex Mandrake's podcast, which I was on. That was fantastic. I sort of feel like Thry-Kreen are crazier than UNT. Right? I mean, we're kind of splitting the difference here. But, actually, let me fix this. Who lives in the desert hills? Poll option 1. Thry-Kreen, Mantis Men, or Yonti. Snake Man. I sort of feel like UNT is less... I feel like it's less ridiculous, and that may just be because of the association with Dark Sun. Let's just create this and see what happens. So I'm going to put up everybody who's following because I've disabled. I presume that even I can't put a link in chat. No, I can. I can put a link in chat. Did you guys see that link? I'm going to vote because I am one of the people that work here. I'm voting for UNT. Wait, did I say Thry-Kreen? No, vote. Why did I vote? I voted for UNT, but it took my vote and said it was Thry-Kreen. Refresh results. Whoa, holy moly. Have you guys already done 141 votes on this thing before I even posted it anywhere? That's crazy. Thry-Kreen seem to be working. It's getting a little bit closer. Solar Swordsman, Jeff, hey, how's it going? I hope adventurelookup.com is going well. I obviously, like, my capacity to contribute to it is greatly limited because I do crazy stuff like this. But remember that if anybody working on Adventure Lookup needs anything from me, you can always just directly message me. You can message me on Twitter. You can just tag me and I should find it. Let's see. Thry-Kreen seems to be working. It's really close. It's really close. Which I feel like right now UNT is a little bit more. So let me phrase the question to you thusly wise. Remember that the point of view of this whole thing is going to be from the men in the Northern Sanction. So if you're one of the men of Cardis and you see these guys coming out of the desert, over the hills, the question isn't which is more scary or which is more weird. Which is more plausible? Which is more dramatic? Mantis Men or UNT? That's the context into which Porque no le dos. Look, we can't do everything. We say one thing and say it as loud as possible. So we want either Thry-Kreen or UNT. My God, it's close. I guess, why is it so close? The reason it's close, this is telling. The reason it's close is because I picked two bad options. I can always tell, this is how I can tell, this is one of the things I do at work. I have the power at work to pick the actor who's going to play this character in Evolve. I could just do that. It's what I'm paid to do. But I don't do that. What I do instead is I go to the team. I curate a list of actors, right? I get hundreds of auditions. I winnow it down to 4 or 5 actors per character, and then I put those actors in front of the team and I say, who do you guys like? And I know when it's not working, if all I get is static and there isn't a clear winner. But that has so far never happened. The team collectively, the 100 and some odd people at Turtle Rock, pick the best actor. They're like, no, it's this guy or girl. So that's how I know it's working, is when there's a clear, if it's perfectly split down the middle, as it basically is, then I have put bad options in front of you guys. I think I would cack my keks if I saw Snake Man. So I think we're gonna go with Yuan Ti, but let's see if we can't come up with a place for this for the Thri-kreen to be somewhere. So Yuan Ti, the Yuan Ti live here in this place. What are the name of these desert? Give me the name for these desert hills. And it should be something that sounds like Yuan Ti could be. Some people are upset that their side lost. Hooty hoo! It's White Rook just said hooty hoo, which it means two things to me. One, it means he's either a fan of Knights of the Dinner Table or he's a fan of Mark and Brian, the LA radio team. But Thri-kreen. I know. I think let's put it this way. The Thri-kreen are to the east. So the Dragonborn are caught between the Yuan Ti and the Thri-kreen. The Yuan Ti are the snake men that are coming over the mountains into Cardus. Right? The Thri-kreen are off the map. Hjortkjer, Assyrian, the Assyrian Hills. Assyria. I think Ankh-Mazek. The scale. I think it sounds kind of I don't want to say goofy. Goofy's not the right word, but I think the Scale Hills is a good name just because snake men live there. Like, why do they call it the Scale Hills? Well, you'll find out, right? So let's rotate this a little bit. Let's give it 30 degrees of rotation. The Scale Hills. So who lives in the Scale Hills? Snake men. And obviously the snake men have a different name for it. I think the Assyrian... let's see, the Scale Hills. Scale Hills is the home. Scale Hills. Home to the Yuan Ti, who battle the Dragon Men of Zir. Dragon Men of Zir. They are being driven into Cardus, driven over the mountains into Cardus. That's why the men of Cardus can't afford to send their... They can't commit troops to the pass because they're defending against the snake men of the men of they'll call them the men of the Scale Hills, because men in this case being people who live there as opposed to literally human beings. So we have Ardenia to the north. All of this, by the way, the dragon men in the desert, the dragon men of Zir, the Scale Hills, the Yuan Ti, all of that just happened because we needed to know why Cardus's army can't go defend the pass, and this is what creates the tension. If everything just works great for everybody, then we don't have a game, we don't have tension. We need tension. So we have Ardenia to the north, we have Haldrim to the west, we have Cardus to the east. Cardus can defend, but the armies of Cardus are all stationed in these hills. The Yuan Ti are led by the cult of Raxus. Maybe. Zeltor Demon. I love this stream! Gordon's alive! It's pretty cool. I mean, if not for the fact that my voice is starting to kind of go, I could do this for hours. The cult of Raxus. Yeah, I think I like that idea because as far as I know, Raxus doesn't have any the Titan Raxus. So the Scale Hills worship the dead Titan Raxus. They were his children. There we go. The Sea of Fire. No, with Sea of Fire, we've done that. Approaching the Sea of Fire. The Yuan Ti live between the Dragon cars. How do they drive the men of Zir over the... No, it's the other way around. It's the men of Zir. Only 4334. It's so we need the kingdom of Zir. I'm just actually going to put the word Zir on the map, and it's going to be big because I think it's cool. Start new text. Zir. Not Zit, Zir. Let's make it big. Let's make it bigger than the other ones. Let's make it like 32. Save. Let's plant it here. Why is it no? Whoops, I got 2 zeros for the price of 1. I just clicked like 5 times to get to work once. So that tells you something. So zir, we need to rotate this a little bit, or rather, let's rotate it back to not any rotation. Oh, because I have to select it. No, sorry, select not the scale hills, but I want to select zir. There we go. Rotation 0. There we go. And let's move it a little bit. Zir. So the desert of Zir is populated by the Dragonborn. That's the name of the kingdom. They actually may have a different name for the desert as opposed to the kingdom. That happens all the time. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. I sometimes get a little bit farther away from the microphone. So it's these Dragonborn here who wage war against the Yuan-Ti, and the Yuan-Ti are driven over the mountains into Cardis. And in fact, let's make it a little bit easier for that to happen. No, we have the mountains and the hills. No, let's keep. I was gonna spread Cardis out a little bit. Well, maybe a little bit. Let's give Cardis a little bit of breathing room here. I can pull that away. So there's a little. And pull that away. There we go. And let's add a little bit of desert here. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm making the distance between this hex and this hex. They only have to cross this 1 hex of mountain. And there's probably a pass or something like that through there. And now they can spill into Cardis. And so that's the plague. That's the plague of Cardis, is these snake dudes. Zir is going to be called the City of Glass by the humans. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Gloomy moron. Don't be gloomy. You're not a moron. You can't be a moron because you just came up with a cool, badass idea for the capital city of Zir. Capital city Zirus. The glass city. And we keep the shining star of the sand. Made from glass. What's the story behind that island with a single dead tree in the middle? I don't know, Kapu666. What's that story behind the island with a single dead tree in the middle? I do not know, but I like the capital city is Zurus, the glass city. Literally made of stone and glass. Where do gnomes reside? Gnomes are dumb. We'll put some gnomes in here somewhere. Even though I do personally think that a setting with halflings doesn't need gnomes, and we don't have halflings in here either. I kind of think of gnomes as being kind of redundant. A good D&D setting should have all the things that are in D&D. So even though I might think they're silly, we need a place for some gnomes. A lich. I think there probably is a lich there. Trograph, I put this, oops, eep, op, orp. If I accidentally click, suddenly I lay waste to 24 miles of forest and turn it into desert. You weren't here, I don't think, but this volcano is for you. So this could be this volcano could be the result of meteoric impact. How can the desert exist with a lake there? Well, that's what the mountains are for, actually. And there are deserts that just abut right up to water, right? We don't know where the rivers and stuff like that are yet. The rivers rivers tend to come from high elevations to low elevations. So what we have is we can have the rivers going to, in fact, let's just draw a couple of rivers right now. Even though I really don't like the way the lines here work. Custom line, styled line. Let's do a freehand river. So the rivers here, I'm not going to draw a river. Well, let's draw a river here. The rivers here. Oh, why don't you work? Why isn't it? Well, that didn't work. What is that? Oh, is that snap to vertex river? That's why. So let's do a freehand river. So we have a river here, right? And we have a river here. And you can see that the rivers don't go south to Zir. They go north because rivers go from top to bottom. So in this case, the river sources are creating this floodplain, right, which is where the swamp is. We need a name for that swamp. And we'll have a river that goes from here down into Cardis, right, because that's where they put human civilizations tend to be. We'll have a river that comes out of Korim, right, and goes into this forest because that's where humans tend to put, we have forested mountains here. So there can be a river here, right, and that's where all these settlements are near rivers. But then over here, the rivers go this way, right? The rivers go whoop into the forest and down through the mountains. and these rivers feed the plains, right? So that's how you get this desert over here. Is none of the rivers are going in that direction, right? And there's probably like a waterfall right here. That would be cool. Because the water goes from here. The water that comes down from the snow melt and stuff like that in the mountains is feeding this lake, but none of it's going into the. And in fact, probably guys fight over water and stuff. So I think somebody said, okay, +1 on Gnome Lich. All right, let's keep the volcano a volcano, and let's make this. It says forest though. It's a dead forest. I think it is. What do you guys think of this? It's a druid. This is an island. This is a druid's island, and this is maybe the most. This guy was the. This is a whole forest down here. This is a very powerful druid. But now this druid, for whatever reason, I don't know yet. This is going to be up to you guys. Has become a lich. Like I don't think only wizards become liches. I think a druid can become a lich. In fact, maybe that druid lich created this desert a long time ago. Enough with the gnomes. If the lake doesn't have an outlet, yeah, actually, I think there are lots of rivers going from the lake south, right, and going to the sea, going to this swamp, going to the sea. The problem is I don't like drawing rivers through forests just because how would you the rivers are there, but I feel like if what I'm looking at, it has to do with the design of the map. I feel like if I'm looking at forests, then how am I seeing the rivers? I actually like that notion. If everybody calls it the loch, but it's actually the lich, and it's just a and I wouldn't say a typo. I would say things change over time. But I don't know enough about this southern. We need to know more about this, and I'm rapidly getting to the point where we've been doing this for 2 hours, and 2 hours is about my limit. So we may have to stop. The desert drove the druid mad. Maybe. Well, I don't know. The druid became a lich to survive long enough to defend the world. I like that. The druid became a lich to survive as a human. Maybe the druid protects. Yeah, I like that. So I'm just gonna make a note. I don't know what the forest is called yet. The druid of the island. Once a human druid who in desperation stopped the desert from. How would the desert cross the water? I don't know. I do like the idea that if it wasn't for this, I do like the idea that if it wasn't for the druid that lives on this island, this whole place down here would be desert too. But he is holding it at bay. But I'm not. Aren't liches inherently evil? Yeah, I think it is an evil druid. Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think. We may have gone down. Maybe it's not a druid. Maybe it's. I do like the idea that it's maybe it's a lich who killed the druid that lived there, and now has taken over his place. I don't know. I think we're gonna stop here. I know you guys want to continue, but I have to be the manager of my time. If I left it to the stream, this would just go on forever. But I feel like we know a lot. And we can pick this up next week. We can do this again next Sunday. And we can probably finish this. I think if we spent another 2 hours on this, the way we did today, then we could figure out what's going on down here in the south and what's going on over here. What's going on with this swamp over here? Who lives in this place? Are these mountains here the same as these mountains here? Maybe put an island out here. We know a lot about this setting already, and it all came from you guys in Twitch chat. I was happy to be able to just curate this stuff. There is still some work to do. We didn't get all the way done, but if the only failing of this first stream is that we went for 2 hours and didn't get everything done, but we got a lot done and it's pretty cool, then I feel like that's no failure at all. We did a good job. I'm going to save this map out. Just save it. File successfully saved. So this is the stream map. And my current plan is we'll just meet here again in a week. on 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and we will finish out this map. And I will take a screenshot of this and I'll post it online so people can talk about it, and maybe I'll share the doc. But I think we've got a lot of really cool stuff here, and I think there's definitely great opportunity for adventure. I think there's a lot more work to do in terms of like ruins and dungeons and stuff like that. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you thought that it was both entertaining and productive. Because if it's if it's just me sitting here talking and no one cares, then we need to know about what's going on here. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting questions. Yeah, I've got wow. It seems like you guys really. It seems like you guys will this be up on YouTube? Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And yes, White Eagle said more than I expected to get done. Yeah, me too, actually. Actually, there was a moment during the stream when I thought, oh my God, it is so hard for me to go back through Twitch chat. But really, I just have to pace myself. And, when I scroll up and just take the time to read things, because people have really good ideas. I'll tell you what the ultimate success, here's how we will know if this works. When we're done and we have a setting that we have built that has nations and peoples, and it's got history, it's got some gods in here, it's got dead titans. When we're done, and I put this up online, I don't think this is going to belong to me. I think it's going to belong to everybody. We'll put it up. I'll write something up. We'll put it up on the DMs Guild for free. People can download it. And if people start using it, if people start running it, then we'll know it worked. My goal was just to create a setting that we could always go back to in my videos. If I want to say, okay, look, I'm going to show you guys now how to prep, not how to, that assumes there's a right way to do it. I don't think there is. How I would prep Lost Mine of Phandelver. And now I have a place to put Lost Mine of Phandelver, and I know where the people might be from. I think that the Northern Sanction needs a lot of work just because it's the human kingdom. We need to be able to run an entire game there, an entire campaign there. But you could certainly be a human from the Bantur Steppe, or you could be an elf from the Vale. You could be a dwarf from Corim. You could be one of the dragon men of Zir. There's a lot of cool places for people to be from. I think we need some high elves in here, so be thinking about that. And otherwise, this map will serve my purposes if it gives us in future videos a world that we can talk about when we need to do examples of stuff like, okay, let's prep an adventure. But I'll know it's successful in general if people start using it. So I think that, yeah, the first adventure lookup case, I think no gnomes allowed. So we are building a world together. I think we got about halfway done. It is 12:59 here in California, Pacific Standard Time. So that means we went for 2 hours, which is about right. And it was pretty on point, I think. My last stream, the stream we did last night, we ended up talking, which is on YouTube, by the way, we ended up talking about Tolkien, and we spent a lot of time talking about a lot. So we talked about The Nice Guys, new movie. If you haven't seen The Nice Guys, if you haven't heard of it, you're missing out. Go see it. It is just nothing but joy. That movie is 2 hours of just lots of fun. I had a great time. So but this time we did 2 hours of literally just talking about world building, and it was pretty fertile, right? There were a lot of great ideas. If you had a great idea and I didn't get to it, if you had a suggestion that I didn't see, I apologize. That's the nature of the beast. Is there's a ton of people in Twitch chat, they're all suggesting stuff, and I by no means do I think that these were the best ideas. These were just the cool ideas that struck me as I was scrolling through. So if you suggested something and I didn't see it, in no way am I saying that idea isn't valuable or isn't cool. It just, I probably didn't see it, it didn't catch my eye. So expect to see me again. We'll all get together a week from today on Twitch, and we'll see if we can't finish this map. Until then, it was fantastic. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had fun. And it seemed like the chat was a success. It seemed like everybody was well behaved. And I think that that's all we can ask for. Let me just make sure I can do this dramatically, right? Peace out.